Yep, we're on our walk today, me and Max. Mama went to Texas for 2 weeks, so we're here alone, pretending we're bachelors, me and Max. We gotta go for our morning walk after breakfast every day. Then I'll work on the new model build. I think you're gonna like it. It's the old school USS Enterprise from the original series. Enjoy. All right, first things first. Here's the Holy Grail, the original USS Enterprise. No bloody A, B, C, or D. I always like to show you that I'm opening it for the first time, so you don't think that I did something previous. Gotta wash the parts first to get all that mold oil off of there so the paint will stick. I'm just pretending to wash it here because I'm holding my phone with my other hand. Here's the dried pieces. Got to read the instructions so I don't do something stupid. I will do something stupid, but here's my tradition. Brand new paper towels for the paint station turnstile. Gotta do it. Painting the collectors on the nacelles, or nacelles as I call them. I use some solid paint for the initial coat, but then I used some paint with opacity so that I can, if I don't put too much on it, I wanted to make it look like the lights, since I don't have the polar lights, but I have the original one. And here's a little story. This is one of the first models I did when I was a little kid. And I think I told this story before, but it was my birthday. I think I was 8 or something like that. And everyone was gone except for me. I was home alone. And there was a blizzard going on. It was February in Michigan. And it was thunder and lightning, and it was crazy. I never had thunder and lightning in the wintertime. But for the first time in my life, I wasn't scared. And this was my birthday present. So I was putting this together. And I was watching the TV show at the same time. So not being afraid of a storm for the first time in my life, I'll always remember that. So I used the yellow with opacity. I used a darker color over that to make it look like twisting and turning. So putting the saucer section together, if you'll note, I already put primer on it, the white primer, and I have tons of that primer stuff. So the primer helps me to see where the inconsistencies are, where the gaps are, and where I need to put putty, where I need to file. So that's one of the main reasons I use primer. It's really not necessary otherwise, in my opinion. So these clamps come in handy. I went to the hardware store and I bought these. I didn't buy it at any fancy modeling store. I'm sure they have something like that in those fancy modeling stores that are hard to find. There's one 50 miles away from me. And they don't even have airbrush stuff. So here's the shuttle bay doors. These were really uneven. I had to do a lot of filing and a lot of putty to get these to smooth out. And I got them pretty smooth, but not extremely smooth. Now this is an important model, scale model for me, so I try to get it as smooth as I could. Here's our token Maxilla. Alright, so putty adding started. And I used a wet brush. I'm just trying different things since I am an amateur. So maybe in a year I'll become a novice. But I tried to fill the gaps as well as I could with this putty. But this putty is pretty watery. But it tacks up and it dries very quickly. So the sides went pretty well. I had to do some filing. On the top, I had to do a lot of filing because it was so uneven. Adding some primer, more primer to look for any things that I can't feel. But feeling is better than seeing. There's some gaps in the saucer section that I had to fix. And if you do use your finger like I did, you have to wash it off right away. That stuff gets hard. I did some post-assembly trimming there, or when I was fitting them together. These things save the day again. I have more, so I'm going to buy some more in case I want to get motivated. Used gunmetal for the collars of the collectors. Here's what I did. I used a metal file. It was a little quicker than those nail files that I call it. So you can see how much it was uneven there. And they're not always going to be perfect, your models. So you just have to deal with it the best you can. Putting the hull color on. And some more primer on some parts. The more painting you do, the better you get at it. I painted so much this one, I had to use my second finger because I got a blister on my first finger. There was a lot of painting for this model, for me. Especially since I accidentally put too dark gray. For some reason, I got the number 2 gray that I was going to use for the nacelles or nacelles brackets, but that's all right. The more I paint, the more practice I get. There's Max again. So I'm finally gluing the nacelles back on. I painted some white for the bridge dome. It didn't call for it in the instructions, I just did it anyway. And next time I'm going to cut the nubs off and I'm going to fill those holes because you might not see it in the final product, but they show up. And to me that's a flaw. See, you can see them even from this distance. So next time I'm going to cut them off, I'm going to put putty in them, and I'm just going to glue the sides. You have to be careful though with the clear plastic. If you get it on the surface you still want it to shine, it'll dull it, because that's what a lot of that glue does, is melt the plastic so that it binds together. So if you saw a second ago, I was using liquid mask to mask the edges of the masking tape so that the brass color I was using didn't seep into the tape. And it will. It'll even seep in the liquid masking too. So you might have to touch it up, and that's fine. It's par for the course. So I got different glue after that. You saw the glue that I was using with the brush, but I got some glue that I saw on another video of another modeler who does very good videos, and I'm sorry, the name escapes me, but he was using this glue that comes down a small tube, and it seemed like it was a good idea, so I ordered some. I'm probably going to order some more. Collectors are on. Now I'm going to put some extra collars after I retouch it up and put a second coat in very quickly. Too bad I can't paint that fast for real. Nacelles. I'll call them nacelles. Can I call them nacelles, please? It just sounds better to me. Alright, so the whole color is going on. I don't know what those are called. I should have looked those up. I actually put, I think that one on crooked. I had to take it off. There's that glue I was talking about. It's wonderful because I can get every surface, not just the little nubs there. So when I was putting that on, I noticed, oh, that's a different color. Oh no, I put the wrong color on. And then I forgot to mask the dome when I painted the gloss, and it dulled it. So I did some fancy clamping there because I accidentally cut off the nubs on those brackets. Well, it happens, so next time I'll take a closer look before I start cutting, getting in a hurry. There's that special glue thing again. I really liked using that. So a lot of these holes I had to re-drill. My airbrush cleaning tool down there, you see it's brass. I used that to drill the holes bigger, as you can see. I also had to trim the nubs a little bit to get those to fit those brackets, fins. This is actually the next day. I let it dry overnight. I wasn't taking any chances. Time for the decals. So between putting brackets on and putting decals on, I put a coat of gloss on before I put the decals. Sometimes you can put gloss on, or lightly with 1500 sandpaper, get a smooth surface, and then put the gloss on. And you can sand it again if you want to, but the smoother the surface, the better the decals go on. Now, I was really surprised these decals behaved. There was only one that fell apart, and I was able to wrangle it back in position. I forgot which one it was. Oh, it was one of the side ones. But I was able to match it up. I didn't panic. And, you know, this is the best thing to do when you're putting decals on. Don't panic. Just calm down, and you'll get a technique down. So I place them. Well, I count to 20. When I submerge them in water, I keep warm water in a kettle, an electric kettle. And once I place them, I have a damp cotton swab that I get the air bubbles out, air pockets, and I roll it on there. I don't just, swab it. So I use a brush to put them in place, and then I take the damp cotton swab, and I get the air out and the excess water or any micro sole or micro set that I have under there. Now these nacelle things, they didn't go on very well, so I had a problem. This is the one that broke, and I was getting a little too much of a hurry. And what happened was my other hand was dry, and that's why it broke, because it stuck to my hand. These behaved very well. I was very surprised. I'm getting better at this. Either that or these are just the type of decals that are hard to break. They did seem thick compared to other ones that I've used. Damp side and then dry side. I'm not going to show you all of them, but just some of the important ones that I put on. These seemed weird because one was right side up, one was upside down. This one wasn't even in the instructions, but it was left. So I looked at pictures, that square one. I looked at pictures to make sure, to find out where it goes, and that's where it goes. So I'm finally putting the saucer section on. This was a pain in the butt. I let it dry overnight because I didn't want it to fall off. And I put some micro sol on everything. I put it on twice, and I let it dry overnight. This was early in the morning. So this is my mistake. I put some gloss enamel on it, and I covered it, and I did it before on other models, but I didn't let it dry overnight like I should have. So after I didn't let it dry long enough, then I put wash on it, and then I tried to clean it off with mineral spirits, and it took a lot of the gloss and the whole color off. So I'm going to use acrylic gloss from now on, and I'm going to wash it with enamel. But she turned out pretty good. I had to do some touch-up because of my mistake, but I like it. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good one, y'all.